it is, there's a couple of theories of why supposedly Shyamalan got worse as his career went on. One thing I can support is the idea that,
His brain just died?
well, that's one theory, and I think that's plausible, about as plausible as your tremors are from a different planet, Predator style. Yes, it's as plausible as that. But another theory, which makes a lot of sense to me, is that this is his first movie. So think about this: his whole life, he was planning for this movie. He had so much time for this movie. After this movie, with each movie he does, it's like, all right, well, it makes sense that the creative juices don't flow as much on your fourth, fifth.
Yeah, you get some movies that you're not proud of, but you also get more movies that you are proud of.
I don't know, man. If you look at directors,
This guy went from top of the hill to wee. He was a roller coaster just going down.
I'll say this though, even though critically people don't necessarily love Shyamalan in terms of his career plight, I did read online that his movies always make money versus their budget, so he's always profitable. I think the only time he wasn't profitable was that After Earth movie with Will Smith and Jane Smith.
Wait, you're telling me he made movie?
It's ironic, right?
Okay, let me rephrase that. So you're telling me he made money off of that Avatar, the Last Airbender movie he made?
Oh, that's funny. That doesn't feel right as you say it, but that's what I read, that his movies always make profit. But you're right. Airbender was a huge budgeted bomb, so that doesn't make sense. All right, let me rephrase it. It must be this. The majority of time, his movies make money. And I think the problem with Airbender is that you don't give Shyamalan a huge budget. He's best served with a small budget. Let him focus on the story, a small script, and then he'll make money. But if you give him like $200 million and like special effects and all this stuff, then he's not that kind of director, I don't think.
I think I know the real problem with The Last Airbender. He never watched the show. His daughter gave him a brief subscription of what the show was, and he said, mission accepted.
What's funny is that most people that hate Last Airbender, a lot of them are fans of the show and just hated what he did, right? And so you are. So I get that. So for me, here's what's even worse. I had never even seen the show. I'm just watching the movie fresh, like just open-minded, never seen the show, have no reason to be like wary of this. And I still came away being like, oh, that was the worst movie I've ever seen.
So
what was he doing with that shoot? I don't understand.
So I am fine with people doing a live-action remake of cartoons. It gives physical actors a job and gives them a chance to be able to perform as characters.
Who didn't like the original Ninja Turtles movies, or even the first Transformers movie was pretty solid. So
yeah, but however, the reason I didn't like it, the storyline was fucked. Some of the fights we were supposed to get, we didn't, because with this kind of a special effects, would have been amazing to watch that on screen. Here's another thing. He completely took the bending powers of these characters and I guess try to make them realistic, which makes no sense. They were already realistic. And I can give you another example. And this will be the last example before I take this way too far and have a rant.
Yes, please, because we do have to get back to Sixth Sense.
Yeah, so in the cartoon, in a very early episode, the crew finds out that airbenders are taking earthbenders from shore onto a completely steel ship, taking them away from being able to fight. Sounds like a smart plan.
Right.
In Shalaham's movie, the prison was next to a mountainside.
You know what we call that? That's when you watch the movie, you say, Shala Dam! Shala Dam!
Oh, yeah.
Shala Dam, man!
And they pronounced the character Aang as Ong.
And that's just wrong.
It definitely rhymes.
We talked about this earlier, but is Airbender one of the examples we talk about of like a movie that's better served as a show, because there's so much happening with the storyline that maybe nobody can do a 2-hour movie that really does it justice. It should be a TV show, which you could do now. It's almost always better as a TV show. For example, Saved by the Bell, Wedding in Las Vegas. Better as a TV show. Anyways.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Better as a show. And guess what? It is getting a live-action TV show on Netflix.
As we dive into this Shyamalan retrospective, I'm already seeing a pattern, though. If I think about After Earth, Airbender, it's what I said. Do not give this man a big budget. Limit him. Make him rely on his script writing, and do not let him tackle special effects and stuff.
So, as we say, Shallaham retrospective is also pretty much Bruce Willis retrospective because our next movie is Unbreakable.
And a lot of this is because my man Bruce has decided to retire.
Because he has aphasia, which allows him, which he'll still be able to remember his lines, he just won't be able to speak them.
Yeah, and I think that even though Bruce, the last couple years, was doing the kind of the direct-to-video movies that nobody had seen, I gotta say, man, one of my favorite actors in terms of his prime years, the amount of quality action movies he was putting out back in the day, and even like this kind of stuff. You think about Die Hard, and then this kind of stuff. It showed a lot of range as an actor. I mean, he can do drama, he can do comedy, he can do action. All hail Bruce Willis. Great career, and maybe he'll still come back and do something. So.
You know what movie I liked with him in it? Red.
Ah. Yes.
Retired, Extremely Dangerous.
Yes.
So now he is legitimately Red.
Did you like Red Part 2?
It was fine.
I feel like, it didn't really need to do a sequel.
They didn't need to do a sequel, but
Did you ever see The Whole Nine Yards with him?
No.
That's one we should do sometime. That's a solid kind of comedy / drama. All right, so yeah, this is Bruce / Shallaham retrospective. Bruce retrospective, we'll do that. We'll explore that later on because he has a lot more movies and a lot more stuff you can do than Shallaham. Yeah. And by the way, if we're doing maybe the next couple weeks the best of Shallaham, we eventually will have to also visit...
Signs.
No. We're doing the best. We're going to have to visit the worst of Shallaham also.
No.
That means eventually a double header, After Earth, Last Airbender. Are you ready? It's coming, man. We got to do it, man. We can't just focus on all his positives. We got to focus on his negatives too.
Well, then you, sir, I think have just found what movie to do when I choose my next musical.
Ooh. I think I might have found that replacement for Troll 2. The one thing that gets Nick might be these really bad Shallaham movies, and he has a couple we can choose from.
I mean, I still haven't seen After Earth, but definitely Last Airbender. Oh my god.
You should watch After Earth only after life has ended. I'll be honest. That's gonna be because that would be our own personal hell.
Fuck me.
All right, let's start today though on a high note. His very first movie, The Sixth Sense, which I have to say I actually saw in theaters when it came out.
Really?
Yeah, I was in middle school, and a friend wanted to go see it, and unfortunately, when I got home from the theater, my big brother asked me how it was, and I ruined the ending for him.
Dick.
He brings that up even to this day. He won't let me live that down because this is one movie. It's a cliche like, hey, don't give away the ending, don't give away the twist. This is the mother of all. Don't give away the twist because it makes the entire movie if you know the ending or don't know it. This is like the ultimate twist ending of all time, probably, honestly, in a way.
And as y'all know, our job is to give away the ending. That has been around for how many years now?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 1999. We're going on 23 years. If you haven't seen the ending, I have no... Look, this is not... I take shit from my brother for it. I'm not taking shit from the audience. It's 23 years later. Just irresponsible if you're listening to this podcast and haven't seen the movie. You should know the ending of this movie. Bruce Willis is a ghost.
You dick! You gave it away.
You're reviewing the movie. You should have seen it.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
If you get any letters, suggesting, hey, why'd you guys give away the ending? Tough shit, all right? It's 23 years later. I don't want to hear your complaints. So, anyways, but the review's more fun, anyways, if we can actually have that in mind because everybody's seen the movie. The idea is, does the movie have value if you already know the ending? On a rewatch, is there still value here when the mystery's gone? And I would say there's some movies like this, like a few months back we reviewed Night House, which I know you like a lot, and I like Night House too. But there's certain movies where the value is in those first one or two watches, because the first watch, everything's a mystery. You don't know what's going on. You get the ending. You're like, oh. You go back and watch a second time, and you're like, okay, I know the ending. Now let's see all the clues. And you watch the second time, like, amazing. But get to the third or fourth time, and you're like, okay, does the movie have any value now watching it now that I know everything? I know the jump scares. I know the twist. Some movies, then you get to the third or fourth watch, and it's like, okay, I like it, but I'm never going to watch it again. And for me, that is kind of like on Night House. I can't imagine rewatching Night House for at least 10, 15 years. There's other movies where I can watch once a year, knowing everything that happens, and it's still value there. So the question with Sixth Sense is there value? And I'll say this. I watched it in theaters, and then I did not watch it until now. So it was a good 23 years since I've seen it. Now I've watched it twice though in the last week. So I was really paying attention when I watched this third time. Was there still value? So that's the perspective I'm going to give to it. It's like, okay, you know, how good is it on the first watch, and how good is it on a third watch? So
I have only watched this movie twice.
Oh,
My first time, you're going to hate me for this. It was definitely
last
not-
year.
No, close. 2012.
Oh wow, that's really actually random that you know the year too. By the way,
I know it because it was the first year I was in the military. I watched it on the ship while we were underway. We were rocking, and so I had to deal with it glitching out on me like crazy.
Wow. Okay.
Still was able to see the ending.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. That's around the time. It's around about the time when After Earth would have been coming out. So you could have watched that and be like, oh, "This guy's a great director," and then be like, "Hey, what's his next movie? After Earth. Let's watch that too." Glad you didn't fall in that hole.
So I mean, granted, this definitely was not my first time with Shallaham, but it was my first time watching this movie.
That's interesting. So most people from Shallaham, they know this movie. I would say actually Signs is the next most popular movie after this one.
Well, I love Signs.
And then from there, it's like a mishmash of like Village, Unbreakable in terms of like popularity.
The
and stuff,
Happening.
which we wish didn't happen at all. So
The Village probably should
Lady in the Water. How about go back in the water and drown that movie?
I've never seen it.
It actually wasn't that bad. It just, it was kind of on. He was trying to milk the whole twist ending thing. Like, okay, don't be a director where you're only known for the twist ending.
Because then everyone's looking for it.
And it's always going to be disappointing. It's not going to live up to that first or two twist endings you had in your first couple movies. It's going to always be too high expectations, never going to meet those expectations.
Now, was Sixth Sense actually his first movie directing as well, or did he direct anything other than that? Because I know this was written by him.
This is his first this is the first movie he directed.
First movie directed and written. So he just came in as writer and director.
I don't know the writing part because he did Unbreakable like a year later, but he had talked about for years he had sort of been working on Unbreakable. So I don't know if he wrote it first or what, but definitely the first movie that he made. So that can happen sometimes where like, you know, someone will write a movie, they'll make another movie, and then when that movie's successful, they can go back and use that thing they wrote before and actually get it financed. So actually, I mean, as his debut movie, I mean, I can see where after this movie, the hype was like crazy. The hype is like, whoa, this is the next big best director. This is a hell of a movie to come out the gates with.
I mean, he definitely knows how to work that camera.
I want to give some quick credit to the score.
Oh, yes.
The score is amazing. On the opening credits, I was thinking, this score is like almost like a horror movie, but then it feels like a drama too. It did a good job establishing, because this is going to be a very weird thing they're going for, which is like a drama with horror elements. That's really unusual. I guess now it's pretty common, like something like Night House, like the slow burn horror movie / drama is more common now. But back in 1999,
Yeah, everyone wanted fast pace.
you had slasher movies and yeah, this is a tough sell back then, but people liked it. So
Well, let's get into why people liked it. First, our main character.
yes, well, I don't know if there is a main character, but there's two main characters. But
Okay,
well,
our adult main character.
we'll say our man Bruce Willis is playing Mr. Malcolm Crowe, Dr. Malcolm Crowe.
Oh, he's a doctor of kids.
He's a child psychologist.
Of kids.
So is Freddy Krueger, some would say. He's not that kind of doctor, though.
You're right.
So,
Freddy just likes playing with knives.
yeah, Freddy, depending on which movie you see,
And he likes drawing blood.
and he was either a child killer, child rapist, or maybe he was innocent, depending on which version of the movie you saw, or if you're talking about the remake. So,
I mean, he was never innocent because even the remake decided to double back on that.
And also, by the way, he was either a janitor or
A gardener.
well,
Or a factory worker, because technically, the originals, he was a factory worker.
yeah. Well, he had access to a factory randomly, so.
Then you got Wes Craven posing as Freddy, being a janitor in a high school.
Yep. Well.
Fucking
and-
Henry Winkler.
I was gonna say the Fonz. Anyways, so we start off with Dr. Malcolm Bruce Willis. I'm just gonna call him Malcolm, I guess.
And his wife.
Just from now on, everybody just remember his name's not said that much in this movie, but Bruce Willis is Malcolm. So Malcolm and his wife.
Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes.
I mean, I guess technically he's in the middle world.
That's true, actually. Yes, that is actually quite appropriate.
It's after the scene, anyway.
So this is a scene where we see that he's come from some kind of award ceremony where he's gotten an award,
And he's drunk.
and him and his wife are gonna have sex to celebrate.
And they find out someone's in their bathroom.
Somebody who's almost naked.
Yes.
Somebody
And
who
apparently an old patient of his.
who's actually Donnie Wahlberg from the old boy band New Kids on the Block.
Yes.
And lots. By the way, good props to him because, and I read in the trivia section for this that even though he has like a 30-second scene, this man lost 45 pounds for the role to be on screen for 30 seconds. That's dedication, man. That's some Christian Bale shit.
And then he pulls off an incredible psychosis break
Yeah.
and then shoots Malcolm and then shoots himself.
I mean, hey, I was surprised. This was a very cheery opening, and now our main character's already been shot. Where do we go from here? We go to
Cole.
the next.
Oh, you actually have my job this time.
We don't watch this out like you haven't seen the movie. Yes. Okay. Actually, we get a thing that says the next fall.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Normally, it would say 1 year later. So I thought that was interesting use of something different.
So I'm
that you don't see.
assuming it's 3 to 6 months later.
This movie does a good job with time because this movie doesn't really establish like when things take place, and like it goes scene to scene, but you don't know if it's like the next day, a week later. It's really interesting how it kind of plays the brain. And I think that's because you're supposed to be seeing things actually from Malcolm's perspective.
Which,
And
if he's a ghost,
he's
he
a
doesn't
ghost,
have a
yeah.
perspective of time either.
That's the brilliant thing I noticed about the movie is that like you're seeing the movie kind of float along like a ghost almost. Like there's no rhyme or reason. It just goes from scene to scene. He just pops up in different settings. Like
So
a ghost
how did
would.
he get Cole's doctor's notes?
He doesn't have his doctor notes. He has a sheet, a piece of paper written down. He has his name and his address.
Yeah.
And then he has
The
other
different things
pieces
about the kid. So how did he get all that when he can't even talk to people?
Well,
It's like he was assigned this kid, but
yeah. So we got to think there's bigger forces at work that we're not going to find out about in the movie because clearly he's been assigned to Cole. He just magically appears here outside of his apartment building. So some higher force put him in this position basically with enough information to make this work. He follows Cole to a church. They have a brief conversation where he basically figure out that this kid really doesn't want to talk to Malcolm and doesn't trust him and will rather just steal things from the church and run to school. Okay.
Dude.
Yeah, it's interesting. We do get a lot of Malcolm in his day-to-day life, pretty much. We establish pretty quickly that him and his wife suddenly have a very estranged relationship. They live in the same house, but she does not want to communicate with him anymore. Now, when I watched it the first time in theaters, I was like, okay, well, yeah, couples have issues sometimes where they can be in the same house and not communicate. It's a little bit extreme. Usually one party would maybe move out if it's that bad, but
And honestly, with a situation, I guarantee you, situation that had happened, it could be played out as Malcolm now putting his whole life into his work so something like that doesn't happen again. Because his character, even though he's happy he got the award, probably actually felt something of the fact that he didn't actually help this kid.
well, we're going to learn later in the movie basically that the wife always felt that he was putting the job in front of their relationship. But I will say that in the opening flashback scene where he got shot, they seemed like a genuinely happy couple. So it was like a stark contrast that he gets shot, and now like the next fall, things are so bad between them. Like how him getting shot, the idea that somehow tears them apart seems kind of off a little bit. Like watching it back now, you're like, wait a minute, they seem like they're really in love, and then he gets shot. Shouldn't that almost bring them closer together? Maybe like he probably helped him with his recovery. And
Pretty much your first clue of him being a ghost is even though it looks like she may be interacting with him when she says happy anniversary, she's not.
she's actually, it makes sense that she's in grieving.
Yeah, she's
Her
grieving.
whole everything about her is like a wife in grieving. We just don't pick up on it because we see him in the house and he's like talking to her. She won't listen, so it just seems like they're estranged.
And almost
But-
every time she says something, it's just coincidentally to an answer to a question he answered or he asked.
You got to give him a lot of credit because he carefully makes sure every scene is like plausible. Like, okay, if he's a ghost and he's doing what he's doing, well, yeah, it makes sense that she wouldn't be responding if they are so like discommunicated. So he carefully picks out all these scenes, like them at a restaurant together, like she says happy anniversary, and it's basically like, well, yeah, she's grieving basically, and he's sitting there, but it makes it seem like she's saying fuck off to him. So it does a great job of carefully picking scenes to when you rewatch it with him as a ghost, it still works. So again, props to him. We can maybe get a little bit too much. It's like the movie to me always picks up when the kid's on screen. The Bruce and his wife stuff, we established they're estranged, but then they keep establishing it over and over again without getting new information. We get a lot of scenes of her ignoring him in different contexts, and maybe slows the movie down. But they want to kind of have two stories going. They want to have him and his wife, and they want to have the kid story kind of running separately. But the kid stuff is way more interesting.
So I should mention, granted, I still haven't seen this movie, but there is an actress in this movie who's in a big name movie who she apparently got a lot of fans from said movie. The movie is Hereditary. The actress is Toni Collette, the mother of Cole.
She actually, I didn't know this, but she actually got nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress from this movie.
Really? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, she was great in this movie.
So even though like I thought even though I think she's very underrated and unknown, it's like she's actually getting nominated for awards and stuff.
I mean,
so.
she's not unknown anymore. Hereditary apparently
well,
shot her up.
Well, the horror community loves her, but being great in horror movies never gets you respect in the world.
Until you do one of those elevated horrors.
No, I mean, let's say theoretically Night House is elevated. That girl ain't getting no awards, even though she's like carries the entire movie. I didn't see her nominated for no Oscar.
She should be.
I agree. She carried that movie. Okay, so Cole and his mom, we do introduce their relationship. She's obviously a single mom, and we get
She
a
obviously loves her son.
really fun scene where she walks away from the kitchen for 5 seconds. She comes back.
All this stuff is
All
up.
the damn drawers and cabinets are open, and Cole's in the exact same spot he was when she left.
And he's looking not, I wouldn't say freaked, just concerned.
Well, he doesn't want to tell her what's going on, so she's like, were you looking for something? He's like,
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts. And she's like, it's right there. She's like, right, the most obvious thing is the Pop-Tarts. Just makes him look like an idiot, so.
Also, I should mention, I will probably be giving my wife's reaction because this was her very first time watching this movie.
Wow. She didn't know the ending?
Nope.
Ooh, that's interesting. I could see myself rewatching with somebody who hasn't seen it just to see if they guess it, but that's
No,
more rewatch we'll get.
The only thing she knew about this movie was when Cole tells Bruce, I see dead people.
Because that was like in the trailer, that was like a pop culture line. Everybody knew the line, I see dead people.
Hell, I even did, and like I said, I didn't see the movie till 2012.
We do get,
I guess, introduction to an asshole kid.
the
Tommy.
kid. Tommy, yeah,
Yeah.
Tommy's asshole. But I'll say we do get another clue here. We get Cole comes home from school. His mom is there, and you see Bruce Willis sitting over on the couch. And his mom's like, I'm going to make you some pancakes. You got 1 hour. And she disappears in the kitchen. And then he walks in, and then Bruce Willis starts talking. So on a rewatch, you notice that, oh, this scene is brilliant because the whole scene, Cole doesn't talk. Bruce Willis is talking. And you're like, oh, they did this because if Cole talks, his mom would be in the kitchen and hear him talking and be like, who are you talking to? So again, it's a very smart, calculated move by Shyamalan to have a dialogue where Cole just doesn't talk and Bruce Willis does all the talking.
I mean,
so his mom's in there making the pancakes and she doesn't hear anything.
I mean, he technically does talk later, a little bit sooner, but he whispers it.
Yeah, but 90% of the scene is like done in a way where it's like there's no conversation that his mom. It's also his mom can't pick up on anything.
Right.
If there's any real conversation, his mom would be like, "Honey, are you talking to somebody? Is somebody in the living room?" So you're still in the guise of like, "Hey, well, yeah, that's it. That's he's been assigned him. That's his therapist." So, so again, good. If you watch the first time, this is still a mystery. You're not really picking up on this. I'd be surprised if your wife picked up on it the very first time watching it. There's clues, but if you don't know that ending, it's very hard to pick up on the first time.
So with that scene, she actually said that there are a lot of child therapists who use that same tactic
Yeah.
as a way to get the kid to converse with them without actually opening their mouths, because a lot of kids meeting an adult stranger shy.
Yeah.
But a lot of child therapists does use that as a form of communication.
And that makes the script even smarter because then it means that it works with what they're trying to do with the movie, but then also it happens to be medically correct. Well, more power to him. I'm more impressed. My worst scene, this stuttering teacher in the classroom scene. This felt so out of place for this movie.
And also,
It felt so weird, and I felt so awkward for everybody in the scene.
especially the teacher, because the actor had to start stuttering, and then had to literally
All
call the
this
kid a
trauma
freak.
from this too.
And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself,
I don't even know what purpose it served though. It's like,
is it supposed to be a clue that he's able to see something that's not there? Because it just feels like he's bullying the teacher at this point.
yeah, it escalated to like such an uncomfortable thing when the teacher starts stuttering. I'm just like, and thinking back in hindsight, I'm like, okay, well, we could have removed this scene for the movie. I don't know if you need it. If it was like paramount to the story and you need it, sure, but I think you probably could remove that.
I guess it was paramount to the story because now we get a teacher calling him a freak when technically Cole already told us that everyone calls him a freak.
And I just don't. I don't even see the teacher reacting that way.
No.
I don't think the teacher, like, okay, the kid's bothering me, so I'm gonna call him a freak. Like, I don't see that happening either. That's like, this is.
Yeah, the
it was a
teacher
weird
would probably be
exchange.
fired right away.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
yeah.
what I would have been able to see is if the teacher, sure, could have started stuttering, but still would have told him, was like, okay, you're disrupting in class, get out. Go see the principal. That would have been a more realistic choice.
What they did was they had Cole bully him, and then he's like, I'm gonna bully you back.
Right.
What the hell?
It's like you bully a teacher, most teachers are just going to say, fuck it, go to see the principal.
If they were trying to establish something, because I know what they're trying to get to is the point where Cole opens up to Malcolm and tells him that he sees dead people. But this scene doesn't do it. What happens is Cole goes to this birthday party at a friend's house or some of the kid's house, and this is where he has the big freak out.
So I don't think it's a friend's house. I think it's like a rec center almost that was rented.
It's something where
'Cause
him and his mom got invited, and there's other kids there.
Yeah, and and then of course parents are like, yeah, you're welcome for inviting him, and then all the kids are like,
But it looks like
it
looks like a house though. You sure it's like a rec room? There's like an upstairs with rooms and stuff. So
yeah, but the upstairs just seems awkward, almost like it was supposed to be a lighthouse.
I'm assuming it's someone's house, but it just looks like an awkward house.
Yeah.
And these little punk kids lock him in a dark room, probably with a ghost in there.
Well, there was a ghost in there because we even hear the distorted sounds of "Help me, let me out."
It's so funny because the horror elements of the movie are basically all the ghosts, right?
Even though it's not really horror, it still honestly feels like a drama.
But we don't know that yet, though. The first couple scenes where the ghosts are in there, they're used like jump scares. it's used to make like because Cole sees the ghost as potentially a threat. He doesn't know are they friendly ghosts or evil ghosts. So from what he's seeing, it's like a jump scare, like the ghosts jump out and try to scare him and stuff. So the few jump scares are pretty actually. In the theater, people jumped. at a couple of those. When you see the people hanging, people are like, "Oh my god!" When in the his little tent thing, when the girl was throwing up,
Right.
people jumped in their seats in the theater. So
Believe it or not, my wife didn't jump once throughout this whole movie.
yeah,
And she jumps easily.
well, the jump scares in the theater were good, but they don't work at home. I don't know. It's one of those. It didn't translate. The same thing. I was like, I remember this being scary in theaters, and then watching it,
Also,
it was like,
to be honest with you, I don't think half these jump scares were even meant to be jump scares. They didn't have a loud booming noise that follows jump scares. They're just, all of a sudden you see the hanging bodies. And
they're not jump scares sound wise, but they cut to something very quick to that's supposed to like try to scare you.
yeah,
Like whenever they cut to the dead people, it's like a quick thing out of nowhere.
which
so
is fine, but
it's supposed to surprise you at least.
which is fine, but I don't classify those as jump scares. I classify them really as a real scare. Because at the same time, your body, instead of jumping and then all the pressure just releasing, your body just tenses. And you feel the hit, you feel goosebumps.
I think the only thing that threw you off is the lack of music. If you got the music to go with the jump scare, you would have been
No,
like,
I've gotten scared from things without music, but like I said, a real fear is when your body just reacts in a different way than just, oh my God, oh, okay, I'm fine.
that's exactly what a jump scare is. What you just
I hate jump scares. I like real scares.
Okay, well, this was a jump scare is supposed to be that. Oh my god!
Yeah, but again, I don't think Shanahan was going for jump scares. I think he was going for a real scare.
Everything is heightened,
Exactly.
exaggerated.
I was watching a movie. It comes at night. We're sitting there watching with maybe 5 people in the whole theater.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife we're reacting normally. No, okay, cool. Something exciting happens or intense or something you feel like you should pay attention to. Lean forward. I get this guy behind me when the ending comes up. Yeah, you killed that bitch. It's like it just took me out of the whole fucking movie.
Well, watching a movie in theaters always has the problem of, who's watching with you, because you can have kids in the movie theater, you can have loud people, you
So
can
the
have
other two were kids, and they didn't even pull out their damn phones. The guy behind me, I almost took his phone from him and threw it because he was like, "Oh, this movie's boring." Ding dong. Oh, sweet.
Have you watched? You ever seen Mr. Bean?
No.
I almost sent a YouTube video. There's a clip of he does kind of. He's the character Mr. Bean is Rowan Atkinson, but he does like all these like skits and stuff. And there's a skit on YouTube with him where he goes to the movie theater with his girlfriend to watch a horror movie, and like he walks in the theater like he's like the most confident, like that the girl's gonna be the one scared. And when the movie starts, he's like the one that's scared shitless, and she's like just enjoying the movie. And he's like, "Let's get out of here, let's go." It's a hilarious like 5-minute thing, but yeah, that's true. The best movies to watch in theaters are like slasher movies because then everybody's kind of having fun. And you expect to be loud, but like a serious horror movie, I don't know.
And also with slashers, when the jump scare happens, everyone jumps, and then they're all laughing afterwards. They're all gawking at the gore.
If it's a serious horror movie and like there's like suspense and tension, and the dude behind you's like, "Don't go in that room," you're like, "Shut the hell up." But if it's like a Scream movie, you're like, he's like, "Don't go in the room." Everybody laughs, like, "Yeah, don't go in that room."
Right, because
but if it's like Night House, you're like, "Shut the fuck up."
But luckily, again, Night House. I'm actually happy me and my wife saw that one because we were the only ones in that damn theater that
It was
day.
during pandemic, right?
Yeah. But we were still the only ones in that theater that
I'd have
day.
been scared. I'd have been scared shitless watching them by myself in the theater. I'd be looking behind me and be like, and especially if you're like, "What's that?" And if your wife's like, "It's nothing," like, ah! Cole at this party freaks out. Now he's in the hospital, and now we get the reveal. You finally trust Malcolm enough to let him know, "Hey, the truth is, I'm telling you my secret. I haven't paid taxes since I was a little kid." And Malcolm's like, "Listen, man, we can get you a tax attorney. You'll be all right." And he's like, "Look, you got to help me out here." So then we have a side story about him getting his tax problem fixed. But
Are you sure you watched the right movie?
yes. Okay, no, okay. As we all know, his problem is he sees dead people. Yeah. And then and Malcolm tries to clarify, in your dreams, right? No. All the time while I'm awake.
So, and this is also where we start seeing the dead people with Cole. Now that the secret's out, now we finally get to see what he's seeing.
Interesting enough, though, Malcolm's initial reaction basically is like he's got his little clipboard. He's like, "This kid's crazy." It's
Like,
not.
he needs professional help that I can't give him.
Yeah, Malcolm's not like he's not something like no.
But the problem is He actually kind of reverts back to, no, that's not a good idea, because now he remembers the guy that shot him. It's like, well, I did the same thing with that guy, and he didn't turn out well.
Which leads him to go back and listen to these tapes where he discovers that, ooh, that guy was like seeing things too. And now he has a reason to actually believe Cole. And
Or at the very least, stay with him so he can try and make sure that the same situation isn't going to happen again.
so we get a few of these, like a few of the jump scare things where Cole at night is like in his bathroom and, you know, seeing the ghost like that. And how the movie kind of comes to its thing is like, okay, Malcolm is like, hey, I think I know what you should do. These ghosts, they're just looking for help. So listen to them. Help them.
So to be honest with you, there was only one ghost in here I felt like would have actually been a threat to Cole, and that was the woman in the kitchen.
Yeah.
She felt like she would have been the only real threat to Cole.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the problem is, again, in terms of the horror elements, or even the stakes, at a certain point, it's kind of like, well, these ghosts are not harming him, really.
Well, we don't even know if they can harm him. I mean,
Yeah.
if I remember correct, I think Malcolm actually does like touch him, put his hand on his arm or something. But he never actually harms him. But if Malcolm can touch him, then so can the other ghosts.
And Malcolm, I think the reason why he's like, you know, you should help them listen to them, I think because Malcolm's been assigned by some higher force who gave him the knowledge of, hey, this is how you can help this kid. He doesn't know that he's getting this like thing, but he also doesn't know he's dead, so.
Well, granted, yeah, but it could be God sending him down to be like, hey, you need to help this kid before you can come up to heaven. Have fun. By the way, you can't remember shit, so bye.
Yeah, well, again, like, this whole movie feels like a dream sequence because, like I said, we just see Malcolm going from different scenarios. One thing you notice is that all his therapy sessions with Cole are always like him showing up to where Cole is at. There's no office where Cole comes to his office and they have like these meetings.
Also-
It's him showing up at the church, at Cole's house, in the library, all these places where it's like, it is kind of a weird thing on the rewatch. It's like, why is he like, he has to follow Cole throughout his day to day in order to have these therapy sessions?
Also, we never see his boss because you think his boss would be saying something to him because, yeah, he may be a child psychologist, but I'm sure he has a boss, or maybe we start seeing billboards or something in the newspaper of him saying, your kid needs help, call this number.
Yeah, and they almost got me with the scene at the hospital where Shia LaHam's playing the doctor, and he's explaining, you know, to Cole's mom. And they show Bruce Willis sitting right next to them, and he's also reacting too, and it's kind of back and forth. Of course, you don't see him interact with either of them, but but that makes you feel like, oh yeah, he's there and all that. So interesting.
Yeah, but
All right. So, anyways, we know Cole basically feels like, hey, I'm gonna try to listen and see if these ghosts need help. So he goes to the funeral
of the dead girl that shows up to him.
who's been throwing up, you know, whatever. And
Gloop.
yeah. And he actually says, like, hey, do you have something you want to tell me? Much lower, but just the way Cole
Right.
talks.
Well, they find out that this little girl has a recording. And this recording...
She TMZ'd this whole thing. So.
Yep, and this recording... Again, I'm going to bring up my wife because her first reactions to this... Oh, all I heard from her as she's watching this scene play out... She's pretty much getting the same exact phase as the father on the screen. And
I feel bad for that father because that's so much to take in at once.
Right,
You're,
and also-
you're already think about this. He's already grieving his daughter dying. Mm-hmm. Now, probably during the grieving process, he's just thankful that at least I have my wife. Now that's about to be fucked up too.
yeah, and
I don't know if this actually helps him, honestly.
And another thing is, props to the actors behind the father, but you could tell by their body expressions because we don't see face. Their body expressions tell us that they're watching the same video and they're just getting mortified as well.
It's funny because, like, in the big picture, this is the daughter getting justice for her death.
Yeah.
She was betrayed by the mom. Justice, right? Mm-hmm. But I really think the father may actually kill himself the next day. Is like the end part of the story is that he's already grieving for his daughter. Now you're taking away his wife.
Well, he has another daughter.
He now no longer can stay with his. Well, okay, granted, but now even that he has to explain to the daughter that, hey, mom's going to jail, whatever the repercussions are now that she's going to be probably, I don't know if they can convict her on anything, but.
Oh, no, you can. That video shows murder. It's first-degree murder because that was clear intent with her having to think that through.
And I'm not saying she should get a pass. Obviously, she deserves to go to jail. I'm just thinking, like, the family's already devastated. This is going to be just like, my God, now I'm losing my wife, too, because the bitch killed my daughter.
I mean, I'd be.
I mean,
for all
in the
that
immediacy, he's going to be, like, very angry. So he's going to probably, you know.
He's probably beating the shit out of her.
He's probably going to kill the woman. But I'm saying, like, a year later when things settle down, it's like, damn, last year I lost my wife and my daughter. It's almost more, I don't know.
I mean, but still, would you want to stay with a woman that killed your daughter?
Hell no. If you
most likely is going to kill your second daughter.
And then if he got a life insurance policy, she gonna kill him too. He gonna be eating oatmeal one day and be like, this oatmeal don't taste right.
Right. Even the little girl said, this don't taste good. It's like, don't worry, it's because you're sick.
Yeah, but
Which sadly is still a legitimate thing to keep a kid eating.
But we see basically that, hey, okay, this is what Cole's meant to do. He's meant to go help these ghost people get justice.
Which then he finally tells Bruce what he can do to help him. Hey, talk to your wife while she's sleeping. Also,
Okay,
how would a kid know to do that?
You know, there's a big question that everybody has about this movie, and it hangs throughout. And even rewatching it, I don't know. Like, Cole is very conscious of when he sees a dead person. The question is always like, does he know Bruce Willis is dead? Because I'm watching their interactions, and even though, if you think about it, when Bruce Willis first comes to him, he's very, very hesitant to talk to Bruce Willis, to let him be around him. But he's not scared of him. He's not reacting to him as if he's a ghost. But what would be special about Bruce Willis to where everybody else, Cole's like, dead person, dead person, dead person. Bruce Willis, dead person, but Cole's like, oh, my child psychologist. It's very interesting. I don't know.
What I think it is because I do think Cole knows he's dead.
I think by the end, it's almost like, because that whole advice of like, talk to her when she sleeps. That
the kid
sounds
has
like,
to know he's dead. And
because that's advice you would tell, like, okay, he's almost saying like, hey, okay, you're dead, but how can you communicate with her? Okay.
And
talk
this
to her
is
when she's
also
sleeping.
Cole and Malcolm's goodbye to each other because he even says, after today, we're not going to see each other no more.
But that's
And
still,
Cole's the one who initiated it.
But that still makes sense as them humans, because it just means that, hey, you're my psychologist, and there's I no longer need your help. It doesn't mean like, hey, all right, well, you're going off to the afterlife necessarily.
Well,
I mean,
to be truthful, kid can't make that damn decision. Either the doctor or the mother or both have to make that decision.
it's. I mean, maybe this is a smart move because we're wondering about it 20 years later, but it's written away where it's like just ambiguous. Like, based on Cole's reactions, we don't know if he actually thinks he's talking to a ghost or if he thinks he's talking to a psychologist.
Yeah, but
we just don't know. They don't talk about it.
But also think about some of the other ghosts that's come to him besides Bruce Willis. All of them have their gore pretty much showing. Malcolm doesn't.
But the movie's from Bruce Willis's perspective. What if Malcolm's actually seeing him with the bullet hole, but I feel like he'd have been more scared though.
Yeah.
He treats him like a human being,
Yeah,
so I have to think that. But yeah, there's something. Bruce Willis's character apparently as a ghost is given a lot of privileges that these other dead people are apparently just like treated like shit, because he's given self-awareness. He's able to be at the end be like, hey, I had to help this kid, and also I had to tell you that, you know, you weren't second to my job. He's given opportunity to give a speech to his wife while she's sleeping. So he's given a lot of privilege that these other dead people aren't afforded necessarily.
Well, I mean, the little girl also had that pretty much that same privilege. She had to go through the confines of her death, but
think about it, though. Cole could have told her, hey, go talk to your dad while you're sleeping, just to tell him the truth. She had to go. Yeah, she had to have a damn video. So
well, there's also the fact that she was newly dead. He, even though he didn't know it, wasn't newly dead. So maybe he just ghosts innately get certain abilities throughout the time.
Think about this though too. Basically, he's been dead for a while, right? But this whole thing starts like a while later because it's the next fall and she's seeing another guy. So
yeah.
So what was happening in that weird in between period for him? He was just like in nowhere land or something. So
the nothing got a hold of him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're already talking about it. We might as well jump in the ending. So basically, obviously,
he's dead.
He's dead. That's the twist, as we know. And before we get there, though, I would say that, spoiler, my top scene is going to be Cole and his mom in the car because it has such an emotional, such good acting. I mean, God, my God. Like
From both of them.
Because actually, the best line that Bruce Willis gave to Cole was like, hey, it's time for you to start talking to people that you care about, which means
Your mom.
tell your mom about this thing. She'll understand. And given the relationship, I feel like Cole would have known earlier on, I can talk to my mom about this. His mom is nothing but understanding and caring from the beginning, but Cole's like refusing until the end of the movie, refusing to let her in on the secret. I feel like he probably could have told her a long time ago, and she'd have been all right. But we get this cool car scene, and, you know, getting good writing. Maybe she wouldn't believe him, but he tells her about the grandma and what the grandma is saying, and saying something only the grandma and her would know, and that convinces her. And I think from there they're good, probably.
Oh, yeah.
That's the real ending. And then we get the Bruce Willis ending, which is a little bit more okay. I mean,
He talks to his wife, realizes he's dead. And then we get the whole twist of everything going around, why he couldn't open the door to his office because she put the damn table in front of it.
yeah, that makes sense. I didn't feel an emotional connection with their relationship, so I didn't care as much about him, like, you know, being able to sell things with his wife. We only got one scene at the very beginning of them together. It's not like you could have done the, like 20 minutes, but
But that scene was supposed to show how much they love each
it
other.
was 3 minutes.
So,
It's like
good actors can make a scene in 3 minutes.
the only relationships in this movie that were shown that matter are Cole and his mom, and Bruce Willis and Cole. So ending on the Bruce Willis and his wife, I know that's the big twist, so you have to end there, but that wasn't emotionally satisfying. I don't care about his wife. His wife's messing with her coworker, so she's already moved on. Anyways,
Well, technically, yes and no. I mean, you can tell she wants to be with this guy, but also she still has the doubts and she's still grieving over her lost husband. Now, because he's moving on, she feels like she may be able to move on.
yeah, but again, think big picture though.
Stop being pessimistic.
I would love everybody grieving. The dead one gets to talk to the settle things in their mind. I mean, that would be beautiful. You think God's gonna be like, hey, she thinks your career is more important. You get to stay on earth and settle
No,
things.
but
That's
that
very
could be
small.
his two regrets, though. He died before he could actually show his wife that how much he loved her versus the job, and he could help somebody who actually legitimately needed it. His two regrets. That could be why he has that privilege, because he has more than the one.
That opening scene, given where they went, okay, I love the writing of the movie. That opening scene, if it showed them having some friction and then he gets shot, it's like, whoa, this is unsettled because we had a fight and then I got shot and died. Instead, what they showed at the beginning is them having their happiest night together ever, and then he gets shot. I'm like, nah, closure. You had the best night ever with your wife, and then you died.
Not true. He didn't have sex.
I'm just saying, think about where they went. It's more impactful if actually they're fighting at the beginning. Now, he really feels like, damn, I'm not even getting to fix this with my life. Instead, they're showing, it was just bad. That was bad writing. I'm just saying.
The whole thing with the whole beginning is she still told him, I know this job's more important than me, but I'm fine with it. Doesn't mean, and maybe he wanted to say something then, but he didn't.
The stuff with his wife, they're like, okay, while you're helping the kid, yeah, go float around your wife's house, see what she's doing, bother her, try to give some kind of weird closure. But the main reason why his ghost was still on Earth was simply to help out Cole, and his wife was just some side thing that he tried. That is his.
I think the only reason you're not
No. I'm
because you don't have a
no.
the mindset.
No, but I'm not looking from his perspective. I'm trying to say basically that whoever was the higher force saying, okay, you get to stay on Earth until you do one thing. The one thing was help this kid. It wasn't settle things with your wife. I think that was a side thing that he did while, Cole's at school. So while he's doing that, I'm gonna go talk to my wife.
He didn't even find out he was dead until he saw his ring fall out of his wife's hand.
But it was okay for that to happen now because things were settled with Cole.
At any point in time, that would have happened.
And then whoever it is would decide, hey, okay, your time's up now.
Or it's not really control, but it's help. Maybe whoever put him in front of Cole is trying to help him so he can move on. How about we get into our categories?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
Best performance.
Man, you know what?
I'm giving it to the kid because
Yeah.
Cole did amazing. What was the name? Haley Joel Osment.
Yep.
He did amazing, and that is saying something for a kid.
So I was reading about how he got the part. So Shalem said for 3 reasons. First reason, he was the best kid for the part. Second reason, he was the only kid that wore a tie to the audition. Third reason, this is where I think is funny. He said when the kid came in,
He gave him cookies.
no.
Oh.
He asked the kid, have you read the part? And he said, I read it 3 times last night. And he said, you read the part 3 times last night? And the kid said, no, I read the entire script 3 times last night.
Oh, damn.
Kid's fucking lying.
Oh.
He didn't read the entire script 3 times. But that's a smart thing to say because Shalem was like, my God, what a kid.
It automatically.
I do believe he read probably his part 3 times.
Well, yeah, but then
But it
he's
shows
most
he has
likely-
serious he is. So.
Exactly. He has the cojones, the drive for this role.
Yeah, I mean, listen, next to young Dakota Fanning, I mean, this is probably the best child performance you could ever ask for. So, I mean, it's rivaled by that kid in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So it's like second place behind that, and third place behind the kid in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Hey, put that bottle down. Hey, put it down. Recycle that.
I will recycle it across your head.
Hey, I'm saying, you know, when we one day do our top five child performances, he's got some stiff competition by those Nightmare kids. I'm just saying, man. Anyways, worst performance. Ooh,
How dare you?
where are you gonna go with the worst performance?
I'm gonna go with the kid from Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Wait a minute.
Because fuck that kid.
All right, that's,
No,
I'm talking about this movie though. Damn it,
Yeah. Honestly, with this movie,
Bruce Willis.
no. I'm gonna give it to the little prick Tommy, just because.
Come on, man.
The kid did nothing the whole damn movie. He was supposed to be.
He didn't have any scenes. What was he supposed to
What are you
do?
talking about? He had plenty of scenes.
How you
and
gonna
he
blame
was
the kid
one
for
note
that?
the whole damn time.
I'm gonna say Shalaham's doctor, because actually I was reading the trivia that was a longer scene, but Shalaham, he hated his performance so much that he cut the scene down.
Well, that's why an actor should never watch their own performance because they hate their performance
And-
more than anyone else.
But you're calling Shalaham an actor?
No. That's besides the point.
Okay, of the main actors, Bruce Willis only because of how good the kid and Toni Collette is. He's gonna finish third place there because those two are amazing. So
Kind of surprised you're putting him third.
Toni Collette and the kid, they both got. The kid was nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, the kid was too?
Yeah, and the girl was. Bruce Willis was the only person, and Shalahan was nominated for Best Director, and the movies were nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, damn.
The only person who didn't get a nominated for an award was Bruce Willis.
That's got to be a blow to the
That had to
nuts.
sting. The rest of them were all nominated.
That had to be a blow to the nuts.
Okay.
Best scene. I mean, you already
Oh
mentioned
yeah.
yours.
The scene in the car I think is like it's like if you went to acting school, I feel like that's a good scene to show like just an amazing emotional range.
So, honestly, my favorite scene, I have to say, is when the father watches that tape. Because out of such a only one-time character we're seeing, just to see that range of emotion go from, devastated because his daughter's dead to realization and then anger from when he finds out his wife is the one who killed his daughter.
Ruined his life.
It was just amazing just because we don't really see that with the extras.
Yeah, true.
So I'm giving it to that. Plus, it was a pretty devastating scene, seeing some of the horrors of what real world can give you.
I feel like we're once we're doing this as 2 categories, but let me just say it like this: if there's something you could change or add to, is there anything you would change or add more of?
We're not doing worst scene.
Oh, actually, yeah. Let's start there. Worst scene. Wow. Probably Bruce Willis's wife with her coworker because, like, the guy that she's like gonna kiss or hug, whatever like that. It's like just because we don't care. Like I said, it's beaten over our heads that he's estranged of Bruce Willis or she's estranged. We see all these scenes of okay, they're not communicating. We get the point early on, but they keep giving these scenes to fill in time. So everything with the wife for me, get it out of here.
All right, so This one's pretty hard for me because, unlike Vic, I actually enjoyed every aspect of this movie
Married asshole.
to an extent.
You married son of a bitch.
There's actually one scene that I actually did not care too much for, and that was the very first time we see Cole in his play. Not gonna lie, I understand it's because Cole has to have some kind of human antagonist, which is kind of stupid for this kind of movie. In the form of Tommy being, because Tommy was a actor in a commercial. But to me,
Damn good actor. Well, no, a terrible actor.
But to me, it just did nothing for me. It's like,
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Correction. The stuttering teacher scene is my worst scene. I shit on that earlier. I got to bring that back up. That's the worst scene.
But either way, so I'm going with the very first time. The second play scene technically needed that because it shows Cole's happiness, that he's happy now, yada yada, whatever. Mm-hmm. Don't really care about the plays, but either way, the first play scene for me.
Okay, so now,
What would you change?
is there anything you would change? We'll phrase it from now on. It's like, is there anything you would change or add more of? Or no, we can say, is there anything you would change, add more of, or take out? We can say.
So
You can pick any of those.
So to be fair, I guess I would want to add more to, like, maybe the ghost lore of this movie, in a sense. Understand, yes, they're dead. They're dead people. But some of these spirits seem like they're more of a, what you would call residual haunting, where they just go through their own lives right before they died, whereas others are kind of conscious of their death, or others, as we see with
We don't
Bruce
know what the deal
Willis,
was with
doesn't
Bruce
even know he
Willis.
was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, even Cole said that there's a lot of ghosts out there that don't know they're dead yet.
Not only does Bruce Willis not know he's dead, he still has his career going. He's still like actively being a psychologist. What kind of bullshit?
I guess he's still getting paid because his wife's using his credit card.
No, that's true. I would. I feel like I've dissed the wife part of it too much, but I would say this: if she is grieving, I would eliminate her having moved on with a new guy.
Well, she didn't even fully move on. She even turned him down when he came back.
Yeah, but then you get another scene where they're still like in the same house again. It's like kind of like I would just make her completely miserable. It seems.
That'd just be rude.
If he's gonna give her a closure at the end, then on the road there, let's make her be having the worst life possible. So then when he gives her the closure at the end, we're like, she's gonna be okay.
What is with you and wives?
This is not doing with wives. I'm saying build it up emotionally.
You
It
so lonely, aren't you?
No, opposite. I'm saying this is be more emotionally satisfying if we put her through the ringer and then he calms her at the end.
Either way, so final thoughts. It's your pick, so you go first.
Well, as I said at the beginning, my whole way of viewing this is going to be more grading it on as a first watch and grading it on repeated viewings. I will say that on the first two watches, because the first watch, everything's a mystery and everything's very intriguing. And then you get the twist, and it's amazing. It's a great first watch. The second watch, equally great, because now you're looking at the clues and saying, oh, yeah, he's a ghost there. This makes sense. Second watch, amazing. I do believe no rewatchability beyond the second viewing. I can't imagine watching it again now going forward, because I know the twist, and I've watched it with the context of, let's see if this makes sense with the twist. But in terms of entertainment, the scenes themselves, it's not an entertaining movie. It's not a fun movie. So it's like, I'm not going to revisit again. But because it's so good on those first two viewings, I'm still going to give it 3 stars. Because to me, like 3.5, 4 stars, as good as the movie can be the first time you watch it, for me to have 3.5, 4 stars, you have to have like a strong rewatchability also, I feel like. So I can only limit it at 3 stars because of the lack of rewatchability. If you can go in cold, like your wife did, and somehow in 2022 not know the twist ending, amazing first watch, amazing second watch, but then either don't watch it again or wait like 20 years where you forget about it completely, then watch it again and maybe you'll love it. But so I'm gonna stick with 3 stars.
All right. So for me, to me, I categorize this movie more as a drama, definitely, than horror. Even though this movie likes to say it's a horror thriller.
I don't know why anybody says that. It has horror elements, but they're very small.
Yeah, and it's definitely more of a drama, because let's see, characters were great. The score just adds to the ambiance of what the
Beautiful
movie's trying
score.
to do.
Beautiful score.
Definitely, Shyamalan did a great job behind the camera with this movie.
Writing and directing. Top
He
notch.
knew where to put the cameras, what he wanted to make sure was included in this scene that was being filmed. Yeah, you get your scary moments. What, like 3? But you get a lot of emotional moments. If you are a very emotional person, you will be crying with certain scenes. I won't lie. I had a little bit of water in my eyes when I watched this movie.
Hey, man, Tony Collette would do that to you, man.
Yeah, Toni Collette was amazing. Cole was amazing as an actor. But as you brought up, I don't see myself watching this for another couple of years. Wait until my brain pretty much forgets as many details as it can.
And think about this. You had the benefit of watching with somebody. Like, I'll watch it again if I watch it with somebody who hasn't seen it. Because then you can, in a way, through them, relive it, right? But picture yourself being like just randomly on a day, so you're just hanging at home and be like, you're just not gonna think like, hey, let me pop in Sixth Sense and watch it. Like that thought will never occur to me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, because to be honest with you,
It's not a fun movie.
it's not. It's a depressing movie.
Yeah.
But it has a story it wants to tell, and it tells it perfectly.
True.
But because of rewatchability not being so high, I'm giving this movie 2.5.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Just because I was nice in the last 2 reviews, I have to give this one a mean one.
Wow.
And now we're probably.
I thought for sure I'm here shitting on the movie and you're defending it, and I still ended up with the higher.
And I guarantee you, in about 100+ episodes, Vic's gonna make me rewatch this movie again so I can change my score.
This is the Tremors Part 2. Jesus. I think I think next week you're gonna listen back and be like, I literally liked everything about the movie and gave it 2.5 stars.
No, it's because of the rewatchability.
I think it's a fair point because I think that realistically,
How often are you gonna go back and rewatch this movie?
yeah, it's like you have to judge a movie based on, hey, is it only good on that first journey, like, or is it a journey you can keep taking? There's certain movies that you can literally watch over and over again, like once a year, and still have a fun experience.
The Raid, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard.
Yeah. As good as this movie is written and everything like that, it's not written for rewatchability. It's written for get all you can out of those first 2 watches. But then I would say this is not a movie you should even buy. Just like find it every 20 years on a streaming service and watch it. But it shouldn't even be in your collection. You don't want to watch it every 5 years.
I got it on Blu-ray. I bought this. Unbreakable.
But you bought it as a pack, though. I
And
think, right?
Signs, all on Blu-ray, yeah.
Yeah, it was a comic pack.
But I was also-
it's the same reason you have Die Hard 5, so.
Actually, no.
You bought that separately.
Yeah, so what happened
You son of
was,
a bitch.
because I liked the first 4 Die Hard movies, I bought the 5th one thinking, okay, it's going to be decent. And then I watched it.
You died hard that night.
Yeah,
Very hard.
yeah. So anyway, as everyone knows, you don't have to go home, but you definitely got to listen to Vic talk about chicken nuggets for 5 seconds.
Chicken nuggets were the greatest meal ever in the history of the world. And also, let me just mention next week, Unbreakable. We continue the Shia LaHam retrospective with Unbreakable. So watch it this week. Be prepared. I'm doing a deep dive next week on that. And as always, there's still time for you to get to the drive-thru before it closes and get them chicken nuggets. Honey mustard.
Hot mustard.
Honey mustard.
Hot mustard.
Stop trying to push hot mustard.
Hot mustard.
It will not be a thing.
Hot mustard, you motherfucker. Well, it depends on where you go.